Welcome to our deep dive. We're taking a look at the Book of Joy.
Oh, yeah. Fascinating book.
It's co-written by, well, two incredible guys,
Uh-huh.
the Dalai Lama and the Archbishop Desmond Tutu.
Two pretty globally respected spiritual leaders, you could say.
For sure. But
Yeah.
what makes this book so unique is they're actually close friends.
That's right. Yeah, and that really comes through.
I can't wait to really dig into their insights on joy.
Well, it's interesting because they chose to explore joy together, even though they've both experienced so much suffering, you know?
That's true.
The Dalai Lama being exiled from his homeland,
Right.
and the Archbishop facing the horrors of apartheid.
Yeah.
I mean, they both understand
Yeah.
the darkness the world can hold.
They've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
For sure.
And yet they still find a way to focus on joy.
That's really amazing.
It is.
And they spent a whole week together just laughing and sharing stories.
You can really feel that warmth
I know.
and friendship in the book.
It's an incredible blend
Yeah.
of personal anecdotes, spiritual wisdom,
It's all in there.
and the latest scientific research on happiness.
Yeah, one of the first things that really jumps out at me
Uh-huh.
is the Dalai Lama's distinction between joy and happiness.
Yeah, he really breaks it down.
He does. He says happiness is often tied to...
External circumstances.
Yeah, it's fleeting.
Right, like a sparkler.
I love that.
A little burst of excitement.
Exactly.
But then fades quickly. Joy, on the other hand.
Now joy, this is different.
This is different.
This is more like the steady warmth of a fireplace.
Ooh, I like that. It's
Yeah.
enduring even when the world feels cold.
That's it.
It's that deeper, more lasting state.
It is. It really is.
That's a great analogy. I love that.
Thanks.
It really drives home the difference.
Yeah.
It makes you think. What brings you that kind of lasting satisfaction?
You know, it's a good question.
It is.
For me, I think it's, well,
Yeah.
it's spending time with loved ones, creating something,
Mm-hmm.
maybe connecting with nature.
Absolutely.
Those are the things that come to mind.
For sure. And that's what they're talking about.
Exactly.
Finding those things that
Right.
nourish your soul.
Regardless of what's happening around you.
Yeah. It's finding that inner peace.
Right. And here's where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
Both the Dalai Lama and the Archbishop, they view suffering
Yeah.
not as an obstacle to joy,
Okay.
but almost as a pathway to it.
Whoa. Now that's a surprising thought.
Isn't it?
How can suffering possibly lead to joy?
Well, they both believe that going through these difficult experiences,
You mean like,
like hardships,
okay.
they can actually make us stronger,
Oh,
more resilient.
that's interesting.
You know, the Dalai Lama even recounts his harrowing escape from Tibet
Wow.
back in 1959.
Right.
He could have so easily
Yeah.
been consumed by anger and despair,
I can't even imagine.
but he chose to see it as a chance
Really?
to practice courage.
And acceptance.
I'm really struck by his resilience.
Me too.
It makes you wonder, how do we tap into that strength
Yeah.
when we're facing our own challenges?
Well, this leads to the Dalai Lama's concept of mental immunity.
Mental immunity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like our physical immune system
Okay.
protects us from disease.
Right.
We can train our minds
To be more resilient.
exactly to negative emotion.
Like fear, anger, sadness.
all of that. Yep.
So it's like building up
Exactly.
those emotional muscles.
That's a great way to put it.
So how do we actually build this mental immunity?
Well, you know,
Yeah.
the world throws a lot at us.
Doesn't it?
It does.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed.
Yeah. The Dalai Lama, he emphasizes understanding the nature of our minds. You see,
Yeah.
difficult emotions, they're inevitable,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't have to be ruled by them.
Okay.
It's about learning to observe our thoughts and feelings
You mean like,
without judgment.
and then consciously choosing how to respond.
So it's that pause,
It is.
that moment of choice,
That's the key.
that makes all the difference,
I think so.
instead of just reacting impulsively.
Yeah, just taking a breath and deciding, how do I want to move forward from here?
Exactly.
The book actually offers some practical tools for cultivating that pause.
Oh, that's helpful.
One technique the Dalai Lama suggests is analyzing the root of our negative emotions.
Okay.
For example, when we're feeling frustrated,
Yeah.
he encourages us to ask, is this frustration based on reality,
Oh,
or is it my own mental projection?
That's a good point.
We often discover our suffering is
Amplified by our own thoughts and interpretations.
That's true, right.
That's so true.
Sometimes we just need to shift our perspective.
Yeah.
The book tells this story about two veterans who both lost their legs in combat.
Oh, wow.
One was consumed by bitterness, while the other found this new appreciation for life.
Really?
Realizing he could look into his children's eyes at their level.
That's beautiful.
It is.
That story really shows how our outlook shapes our experience.
It does, yeah.
The Dalai Lama and Archbishop Tutu emphasize that we always have a choice.
Always.
In how we frame our reality.
It's powerful stuff.
It is. It makes you think, when has a shift in perspective helped you cope with a challenge?
That's a good one.
Was it finding gratitude in unexpected places?
Yeah.
Or choosing to focus on the lessons learned?
It's those little shifts, right?
It is.
Make all the difference.
Thinking about that veteran's story, it makes me wonder, is there any situation where a shift in perspective can't help?
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, some things are just plain awful.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And the book doesn't shy away from addressing those really tough situations.
That's really...
In fact, they delve into one of the hardest things humans are asked to do, forgiveness.
Oh, wow.
Both the Dalai Lama and the Archbishop see it as essential.
Really?
Not just for personal healing, but also for societal transformation.
Forgiveness is such a loaded word.
It is, it is.
The book shares the story of Richard Moore.
Yeah, I remember that one.
He was blinded by a rubber bullet.
It was during the conflict in Northern Ireland.
Right.
Terrible situation.
I was.
And he not only forgave the soldier who blinded him,
Wow,
but also befriended him.
that is truly remarkable.
It's a powerful story.
It is.
What strikes me is that the Dalai Lama emphasizes that forgiveness isn't about condoning harmful actions.
Right. It's not saying what they did was okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about choosing to release the anger and resentment.
That binds us to the person who harmed us.
Right. It's about recognizing our shared humanity and understanding that even those who hurt us are ultimately seeking happiness, however misguided their actions may be.
So by releasing that anger,
we're essentially freeing ourselves.
in a way, yes, as Archbishop Tutu puts it. Without forgiveness, we remain tethered to the person who harmed us.
Okay.
Imprisoned by our own bitterness.
Right. It's like that key.
Yeah.
That unlocks the prison door.
Powerful image.
It is.
It really is.
Like choosing to heal rather than perpetuate the cycle of pain.
Absolutely.
And speaking of connection or the lack of it, the book delves into the paradox of loneliness.
In a world of billions, right?
Exactly.
It's crazy to think about.
I know.
They frame loneliness not simply as lack of social interaction, but as a state of mind.
Interesting.
You know?
Yeah.
We can be surrounded by people and still feel deeply alone.
That's so true.
The Dalai Lama suggests that if we constantly focus on the 7 billion human beings on this planet, we'll never truly feel lonely. So you're saying that focusing on our shared humanity is an antidote to loneliness.
It can be, yeah.
That's fascinating.
It's like that sense of interconnectedness.
Right.
That Ubuntu philosophy.
I was just thinking about that.
That the Archbishop often speaks of.
A person is a person through other persons.
That's it.
When we feel connected to something larger than ourselves, loneliness loses its grip.
It does.
And that connection has come from various sources. Our relationships with loved ones.
Our communities, even our sense of belonging to the human family as a whole.
It's a beautiful thought.
It is.
What helps you feel connected?
Let me think about that.
When you're experiencing those pangs of loneliness.
I think for me, it's reaching out to someone I trust.
Absolutely.
Sharing how I'm feeling.
Sometimes just saying it out loud.
Exactly.
It helps.
It really does.
That's something I think we all grapple with, especially in today's world.
You know,
Yeah.
But it's hopeful to hear
It is.
that even in the midst of suffering,
Yeah.
even when we feel alone, the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Tutu believe there's always the possibility of joy.
It's a great takeaway.
They really drive home the point that joy is not a destination.
It's not like a place we arrive at.
Right. It's a choice.
It is.
We can make every single day
a choice.
A muscle we can strengthen.
It is. It really is.
And one way we can strengthen that muscle
Oh, yeah. I'm curious.
is by cultivating compassion and generosity.
Okay.
The book highlights how these qualities aren't just noble ideals.
They're not just nice thoughts.
Right.
They're key ingredients.
They are.
For a joyful life.
They really are.
That's a great segue to our next part.
It is.
Where we'll delve deeper into these concepts.
You get into the nitty-gritty.
And explore some truly inspiring stories.
Can't wait.
About the power of compassion.
Stick around.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back.
Glad to be back.
We left off talking about compassion and generosity.
We were.
As key ingredients for a joyful life.
Right. And it's easy to think of those things as things we do for others.
Yeah.
But the book really emphasizes how they're ultimately in our own self-interest.
It's true. You know, it's like that saying.
What's that?
You get more by giving.
Right.
But how does that actually work?
Yeah, especially when we're dealing with our own struggle.
Right.
Exactly.
So the Dalai Lama, he uses this analogy of physical health.
Okay.
If we want to be physically strong, we need to exercise.
Okay.
Eat well.
Right.
Get enough rest.
The basics.
The basics, right.
Makes sense.
Similarly, if we want to develop a warm heart.
A warm heart.
That's what he calls it.
Okay.
We need to cultivate compassion and generosity.
So those are like the exercises.
They are.
Okay.
To build that warm heart.
I'm following you. But how do we actually exercise those compassion muscles? What does that even look like?
One practice the Dalai Lama suggests is simply reflecting on the interconnectedness of all beings.
Of all beings.
Yeah. He often reminds people that even the most powerful individuals, kings, queens, spiritual leaders,
they can't do it alone
without the support of others.
Yeah.
We're all interdependent.
We are.
Whether we like it or not.
Whether we realize it or not.
It's true.
It's a powerful thought.
It is.
It makes you realize how much we rely on each other.
Yeah, even in ways.
Even in ways we might not see.
Right.
And recognizing that interdependence can make us more empathetic.
For sure.
And more willing to help.
More willing to lend a hand.
Exactly.
The book shares this really moving story.
Oh, yeah.
About Anthony Ray Hinton.
Okay.
Who spent 30 years on death row.
Wow.
For a crime he didn't commit.
That's awful.
In that unimaginable situation, Hinton found a way to hold on to his humanity by focusing on the needs of others.
And that's incredible.
Counseling fellow inmates.
Wow.
Even befriending the guards.
To find joy in such a bleak place by helping others, it's almost counterintuitive.
It is.
It really is.
But you know, research shows that people who engage in these acts of kindness and generosity, they actually experience a boost in well-being.
Oh, wow.
Both physically and emotionally.
Really?
It's like we're wired for compassion.
Yeah.
And when we act on it,
it lights up.
It lights up.
Those joy circuits.
The joy circuits in our brains.
It's amazing. So it's not just about feeling good. It's about doing good.
It is.
It's like a feedback loop.
That's a great way to put it.
Where one feeds the other.
You got it.
I love that.
And the Dalai Lama and the Archbishop, they make it clear.
Yeah.
It's not about grand gestures. Even small acts of kindness can have a ripple effect.
That's a good point.
A simple smile.
Yeah.
A helping hand.
Just listening.
A listening ear. All of those.
It all makes a difference.
It does.
Both for the recipient and for ourselves.
Right. It comes back to that idea we talked about earlier.
What's that?
Starting where we are.
Right.
And doing what we can.
I like that.
But what about when we're faced with immense suffering?
Yeah.
Like the kind that the Archbishop witnessed.
Having apartheid.
Exactly.
How do we find joy?
Yeah.
In a world where such pain exists.
The Archbishop has often said.
What's that?
We are not called to be successful.
Okay.
But to be faithful.
Oh, I like that.
It's about doing what we can to make a difference.
Yeah.
Even if it feels like a drop in the ocean.
It all adds up.
It does.
Right.
He also reminds us that despair, it turns us inward. Yeah. But hope sends us outward.
Outward toward.
Connection and action.
So even in the darkest times, we can choose to be a source of light for others.
It's powerful.
It is. And speaking of light, the book talks about gratitude.
Ah, yes.
As a wellspring of joy.
When we focus on what we're thankful for, it really shifts our perspective.
It does.
It helps us see the good.
Yeah.
Even in difficult situations.
I agree.
It's like we're training our minds to look for the positives. instead of getting bogged down by the negatives.
Gratitude is one of those things
Yeah.
it's easy to talk about,
Is.
but harder to put into practice,
So true.
especially when life throws curveballs.
Yeah, but I remember reading a study
Okay.
where people kept gratitude journals.
Okay.
They'd write down a few things they
Yeah.
were grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
Each day,
Mm-hmm.
they ended up feeling happier,
Really?
healthier,
Wow.
and even more optimistic.
That's
That's the power of gratitude.
it's a muscle.
It is.
With practice,
Right.
and when we cultivate gratitude,
Yeah.
it often leads to greater generosity
How so?
because we're more aware of the abundance in our lives
Oh, okay.
and more willing to share it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So we've got compassion, generosity, gratitude.
Yeah.
It sounds like these are some of the
Yeah.
key pillars of joy,
They are.
according to the Dalai Lama and the Archbishop.
For sure, they definitely are.
And the book explores a few more,
Really?
including
Humor.
perspective and acceptance.
I love that they included humor.
Oh, you?
The Dalai Lama and the Archbishop,
Yeah.
they seem like they were both
Mm-hmm.
quite mischievous.
They were.
Always ready with a joke.
You can tell.
Reminds us not to take ourselves too seriously.
Exactly. They both emphasize that.
It's important.
They see laughter
Yeah.
as this powerful antidote to stress and despair.
It helps us lighten up.
It does.
See the absurdity of our self-importance.
So finding joy,
Yeah.
it isn't about becoming some
Yeah.
perfectly enlightened being.
It's not about being perfect.
No, it's about embracing our humanity.
Yeah.
Flaws and all.
Love that.
Finding ways to connect,
Mm-hmm.
give, laugh, and appreciate the good,
Yeah.
even when things are tough.
That's a wonderful way to put it.
Takes.
And the book doesn't shy away from the tough stuff either.
It doesn't.
They talk about some of the biggest obstacles to joy.
They do.
Fear, anger, sadness,
Mm-hmm.
even our own mortality.
That's right.
That's what I find so refreshing about their approach.
Yeah.
It's not about pretending life is always rosy.
It's not about putting on a happy face.
No, it's about acknowledging the darkness,
Right.
the pain,
The suffering.
the inevitable suffering we all face,
Yeah. And then
and choosing to cultivate joy
that's the key.
in spite of it all.
Powerful stuff.
And that choice,
Mm-hmm.
as they both emphasize,
Right.
is something we have to make every single day.
Every single day.
It's not a destination
Right.
we arrive at.
Yeah.
It's a journey
A journey
we're constantly on.
that we're all on together.
A journey we don't have to take alone.
That's right. We can support each other along the way.
Exactly. Sharing our joys and sorrows.
Absolutely. The Book of Joy.
It reminds us
So
we're all in this together.
We are.
Our joy is interconnected.
Yeah.
Just like our suffering.
And that brings us to
Yeah.
the last part of our deep dive,
Okay.
where we'll explore the power of perspective
Right.
and how it can help us navigate
Yeah.
the inevitable challenges life throws our way.
So we've covered a lot of ground in our deep dive into the Book of Joy.
We really have.
From compassion
Yeah.
and generosity
Mhm.
to gratitude
Gratitude's a big one.
and even humor.
Can't forget the humor.
But one theme that keeps coming up for me
Yeah.
is perspective.
Perspective, yeah.
The Dalai Lama and Archbishop Tutu, they really emphasize choosing how we view our experiences.
They do. It's not about pretending everything's fine.
Right. It's not a...
It's about recognizing we have a choice
Yeah.
in how we frame our reality,
Even in tough times.
even when things are hard.
It's like they're saying we can choose to focus on the light
Yeah.
even when surrounded by darkness.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
And they offer some really practical guidance on how to do that.
They do.
One technique the Dalai Lama suggests is widening our lens
Okay.
instead of getting lost in our own problems.
Yeah, we tend to do that,
We do.
don't we?
We really do.
He encourages us to consider the experiences of others.
Oh, wow.
You know, he often reminds people
Yeah.
that whatever they're facing,
Mm-hmm.
countless others around the world
Yeah.
are enduring far worse.
It's like putting our own problems into perspective. Sometimes I think we forget
We do.
how much we have to be grateful for.
So easy to get caught up in our own little bubble. But when we step outside of it
Yeah.
and see the bigger picture,
Mm-hmm.
it can be humbling.
It really can.
The book also highlights
Yeah.
the importance of remembering
Mm-hmm.
that everything is impermanent.
Oh, that's right.
Both joy and sorrow,
Mm-hmm.
they're temporary states.
That's actually a comforting thought,
It is, isn't it?
especially when we're going through those difficult times.
Yeah.
Knowing that the pain won't last forever,
Right.
that can give us hope to keep going.
It's like riding a wave.
Oh, I like that.
There are peaks and valleys.
Yeah. Yeah.
but the ocean remains vast and constant.
That's a beautiful way to think about the ebb and flow of life.
It is. It really is.
But even with that perspective, accepting what is, it can be really hard.
It can be.
Especially when we're dealing with things that seem so unfair.
Yeah, or unjust.
Yeah, exactly. How do the Dalai Lama and the Archbishop suggest we cultivate acceptance?
Well, the Dalai Lama often talks about the difference between pain and suffering.
Okay.
Pain is inevitable.
Right.
It's part of life.
Yeah, we can't avoid that.
We can't. But suffering, he suggests, is optional.
Optional.
It's the mental and emotional resistance
Oh, okay.
we create around the pain that makes it worse.
So it's not about denying the pain, it's choosing how we relate to it.
Exactly.
The Book of Joy offers some practical advice on how to do that.
It does. When facing a challenge, they suggest we analyze the situation.
Okay.
Instead of getting lost in our emotions, we can ask ourselves, is there anything I can do to change this situation?
Okay.
If so, great. We take action.
We do what we can.
But if not,
then we
choose to accept it.
Accept it.
And focus our energy on the things we can control.
It sounds like that serenity prayer.
It does, doesn't it?
The courage to change what we can.
Yes.
The acceptance to let go of what we can't.
No.
And the wisdom to know the difference.
That's it. That's the key.
The book emphasizes that acceptance isn't about passivity or resignation.
It's not about giving up.
No.
It's about recognizing reality as it is without judgment or resistance.
So it's about making peace with what is so we can move forward.
With clarity.
With clarity. And that brings us back to the importance of purpose.
It does. Both the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Tutu, they believe that having a sense of purpose
is essential for a joyful life. And they suggest that purpose is often tied to contributing to something larger than ourselves.
To making a difference.
Right, making a positive difference in the world.
It doesn't have to be a grand mission, though.
It doesn't have to be saving the world.
It can be as simple as being kind to our neighbors, volunteering in our communities.
Just being a good person.
Right. Or striving to live with greater awareness and compassion.
So, in a way, finding joy is about aligning our actions.
It is
our values.
Living in a way that feels meaningful.
Yeah.
And authentic.
Beautifully put.
Thanks.
The Book of Joy reminds us this is a journey, not a destination.
We're all works in progress.
Constantly learning, growing.
Evolving.
And that evolution, as they illustrate so beautifully, is often fueled by our connections.
It is. Our connections with others.
Sharing our joys and sorrows.
Supporting each other through life's ups and downs.
We create a web.
We do.
Of love and compassion.
That can lift us all higher.
Absolutely. The Book of Joy.
It's more than just a collection of wise words.
It's more than just a book.
It's a call to action.
It is.
An invitation to cultivate joy.
In our own lives.
And to be a source of joy for others.
And as the Archbishop so often reminds us.
Start where you are.
Yeah.
Do what you can.
Even small acts of kindness.
Yeah.
Generosity, compassion.
They can make a world of difference.
You don't have to do it alone.
You don't.
Reach out to your loved ones.
Connect with your community.
Find those who inspire you.
Yeah, and let their light fuel your own.
I love that we hope this deep dive into the Book of Joy has sparked something within you.
A little something.
A renewed sense of hope.
Yes.
A deeper appreciation for the simple things.
Absolutely.
And perhaps even a little more laughter along the way.
A little more laughter always helps.
It does. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
And may your journey be filled with joy.
Did you get any of that?